Hi team. So today we are diving into product backlog management and how a tool like Azure DevOps Boards can bring clarity to a project when creating and managing a product backlog. So I've been using Azure DevOps Boards for years on most of my Dynamics 365 or Power Platform projects. And I hope that by the end of this video, you will be as excited as I am about creating and managing a product backlog using Azure DevOps Boards. So what is the product backlog? So if you're involved on an implementation of an IT project like Dynamics 365 or the Power Platform, you will need a way to manage your user requirements. Maybe you are involved in those initial phases of initial requirements gathering, with your stakeholders, or you get a list of requirements in an Excel sheet or whatever format. You will still need to store those requirements somewhere and manage them as the project goes. So the product backlog is effectively an ordered list of items that must be done to complete your project. So in the context of implementing a solution like Dynamics 365 or the Power Platform, the product backlog serves as a living document where all the requirements, enhancements, bugs, and technical tasks are captured and prioritized based effectively on business value and complexity. Now, you might think that managing a product backlog in Azure DevOps, it's time consuming and it's way more complex than managing a product backlog, for example, in an Excel spreadsheet. So while Excel might be a familiar and straightforward tool effectively to manage requirements and a product backlog, it lacks specialized features that Azure DevOps Boards brings to the table. So features like real-time collaboration, where every member can visualize all the items on the board, interact, leave comments on items, and so forth. We can also have different work item types, like for example, categorize by size. We can have epics, features, user stories, you can have bugs, and each of these can have specific fields and information you want to capture for. And Azure DevOps Boards also comes with pre-built reporting and analytics that give you clarity as you work. It provides you clarity on your work, on your team's work, on your sprint work, and so forth. Now, I've been on projects where requirements were also captured in Excel sheets. And it works for smaller projects, right? But as that list of requirements grows, as the list of stakeholders grows, you will need more collaboration features, right? It becomes challenging to all work from that same Excel sheet, add comments, add tasks on that sheet, and so forth, right? So let me show you how to manage your requirements using a product backlog in Azure DevOps Boards. Okay, so when you set up your project in Azure DevOps Boards, you will come with this feature called backlogs, and effectively you have to build your product backlog, right? So I'm showing you here an existing product backlog with effectively the items here, which are epics, right? But you can quickly drill down to the details of each of the hierarchies of those items. So you have epics, then you have your features, then you have a user story, then you have your tasks. This is how I manage most of my projects. Sometimes I don't use those 4 levels. Sometimes I don't use epics if it's a smaller project, right? So you can kind of configure effectively what do you want to see on the board. If you don't use epics, you can easily just turn epics off from that board and it will not even show. This is also related to the process you use. So when you create a new project in Azure DevOps Board, you will be asked to choose a pre-configured process to manage your project. So you can see more information here as well on all the processes that are available. So I use mostly the agile process, but then I tweak it and make it work for my project. So I add additional, sometimes item types. I configure some of the cards. I configure some of those states that should be different per different item type. So I kind of tweak it and make it my own. Next kind of also, of course, is that you have your columns, right? So you can see your order, but you can also see the work item type, the title, the state. So each of those different item types can have different states. So for example, user story can have a different workflow going from new to dev, test, UAT, deployment to a feature, for example, right? Maybe feature has way less state and so forth. So you can define different state per work item types. You can, of course, assign items, define some tasks. So you can very quickly see here that some of those user stories are, for example, blocked and so forth. You can, of course, show an iteration, a priority, and you can add additional columns, right? So I can add any of the existing columns that are available, and there's quite a few of these that are effectively available. So you can just add some of those columns to the change by. For example, I can add here, and then you can see who has changed that item. So another option is that you can also add progress columns. So there are existing ones, or you can create a custom one. But if I were to create, just take an existing one, so for example, progress by user story, and I add that to the list, that would effectively show me the progress of completed user stories per epic. So 5% of user story have been completed. I can drill down now to the feature, and I will see 20%. And if I even drill down, I can see it's because I have one closed user story here that is being visible. I can also kind of filter this one out even from a setting perspective. Actually, it's here, completed child item. I can switch that off, and I'll remove that completed user story from the list. Or I can use filtering, right? So each of those, I can of course use a filtering, which is here on top. I can, filter by type, filter by assigned to, if I wanted to see what is assigned to me, filter by state, by iteration, what is in sprint 1, right? So, or filter by tags, what is blocked. You can kind of quickly filter your product backlog. You can of course as well create directly a product item from here. So if I were to go to an epic, if I click on the little plus, that will add a feature. Or if I go here under the feature, I can create a plus, and then I can create a user story. And then I can effectively test user story, filling the details, filling the description, or not, or I just create the user story quickly with a quick description. Then I can kind of go back to that user story to discuss with my product owner later. But if I create that user story, you will see it now here. It's also important to know that if you start a new project and you don't see epics, for example, in the list, right? So don't forget to go to this configuration and turn epics on as well. Epics feature and user story is kind of linked to the agile process. If you picked another process, those might call be differently, right? So Scrum uses epics features and then product backlog items. So it's kind of related to your agile process to the process that you'll be using when configuring your project. A nice thing to have as well is that you can also from here very quickly drag and drop items. So if this one I wanted to move it to another feature, I could just copy and drag it to that one. Also copy and drag, for example, the order of that story, right? So kind of easy, to kind of just quickly drag and drop based on priority. And of course, an important step is that you can of course see the details of each of those items by clicking on them, right? So if I click on, one of the user story, I can see capture and manage lead with kind of the titles. I can see the description. I can see the acceptance criteria. I can see any field. So there are fields that are coming pre-configured when you start a new project, but you can add additional fields that are not visible here or exist, or you can configure completely new fields if you want to capture some additional information. So for example, in this case, I'm adding often a design section where I capture some design ideas as I discussed that user story with a product owner. You can also capture discussions, right? So all the discussions that happen under that user story can be captured here. You can tag people. So I think and tag me. So there is a conversation going on between and the product owner and the lead developer here about that user story. And is asking the lead developer some questions about that user story and so forth. So you can kind of capture specific comments about a user story within an item. You can also kind of see here related work. So you can relate, you can see that parent feature, but also child, there is a task, but you can also relate additional user stories here. And another nice feature as well that I found quite useful is the history. You can quickly see here the history of the user story, the state it went through, and also, who make which changes on which field, right? So you can quickly see here board lane P1, acceptance criteria got defined, when, who made every single changes to that user story is effectively captured here. Voila, I hope that you liked this video, and if that's the case, please give me a thumbs up and don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel because I'll be doing more videos about Azure DevOps Boards in the next few months. Bye.